All right, welcome back, guys, to Still Horse History Adventures. Today I'm gonna go through the Old City Jail at Charleston. I've been given permission from the group that leases this for tour, Bulldog Tours, to be able to go inside. And one of my friends who works for Bulldog Tours is gonna let me inside today. So definitely stay tuned for the walkthrough for that. But just to give you an overview of what I'm gonna discuss in this is I'm not really gonna go too much into the ghost stories that people like of this jail. I'm not going too much into the legends of it. I'm just kind of sticking strictly to the history of the Old City Jail of Charleston. Now, what we'll start off with is a noticeable difference between the sections of the building itself, and you can't really tell that as much once we're inside the jail. So that's why I want to give us a preview of it right here. You can see this section here is more of the original section built around 1802, while the octagonal section there is the 1855 expansion. Now, there would have been a previous wing that would have come off of this section here that was built in the 1820s by Robert Mills. But in 1855, for whatever reason, they replaced the Robert Mills fireproof wing with this octagonal wing or expansion that you see back here. Now, the original 1802 structure was actually 4 stories tall and would have had an octagonal tower that rose up out of the top of it. Now, in an earthquake in 1886, both of the top tower and the octagonal structure were severely damaged, and a decision was made to go ahead and take those parts off the building. So the current structure today, as you can see, is only the 3 stories tall rather than 4 stories tall. And then, of course, as we discussed, we have the octagonal shape wing back here. As you can see, did take damage during the 1886 earthquake, but was, for the most part, able to be repaired. While walking around the grounds of the Old City Jail, you would notice that there is a wall that goes around the yard. Now, the wall originally was 20 feet tall, but a couple different times in history, this wall was shortened a little bit. The first one being after that 1886 earthquake. It was taken down to about 15 feet tall. But in 1939, when the city jail was sold over to the Housing Authority, they had the idea to put a playground out here. So they shortened the wall again down to 11 feet. So see it today, it's even shorter than that. But As you can kind of see with the gate entrance over here, you see the varying tiered levels of how it would be taken down. Now the grounds where the jail stands today originally were set aside to be public use area in 1680 when the settlers from the Caribbean and Europe first arrived, right? Now we know that shortly thereafter the area turns into burial grounds, primarily used for poor people or people who had just arrived and not been established. Also may have been used for criminals at that time, foreshadowing the fact that it would eventually become the area of the city jail. Now in 1748, the original gunpowder magazine for the city was decommissioned and the gunpowder moved out here to a new structure. So at the very end of the 1740s, they had built a gunpowder magazine on the site, and that gunpowder magazine does not survive the American Revolutionary War. All right, so we're actually entering the Old City Jail of Charleston right now. First room I'm gonna check out is over here to the left-hand side. It's one of the rooms that's always kind of creeped me out the most. It's the old morgue, so I think for a good reason it's creeped me out the most. Now the bottom floor was typically used as administrative offices. You would have also had some of your longest term prisoners that would have been held here, as well as some of your rich prisoners, or your quote-unquote gentlemen prisoners, if you will. The majority of people kept in the Old City Jail of Charleston were actually just petty crime. They typically hadn't done anything that bad, but you did have a couple throughout history that were pretty terrible people or had committed atrocities that would be held here for short periods of time awaiting execution. Most of the people that were held here were typically quite poor. Some of them were even said to have been pirates, but not the style of pirates that we think of when we think of like Blackbeard or, of course today, Captain Jack Sparrow and the Pirates of the Caribbean. The whole golden age of piracy ends really about 1725. This building's not built until about 1802. So the style of pirates we'd have had during that time period would have been more like the Barbary pirates, kind of akin to the same style of pirates we see off the coast of Somalia today. More interested in holding things ransom so the governments will pay them. You'd have also had some famous people held here, such as John and Lavinia Fisher. They're the infamous duo, the husband and wife who were highway robbers. There's a lot of local legends about them, none of which I'll get into in here. Just know that the actual newspapers just say they were convicted of highway robbery and they were sentenced to death, and that execution was carried out on February 18th, 1820. Just about 2 p.m. they were executed. Climbing up the stairs here, we're going into what was once a living quarters. If I'm not mistaken, Warden Bennett once lived here with his family. There's a room here, there's a little cut through, a room on the other side, and another staircase that goes up. Kind of the same as the staircase that we just went through. Some of the other people that would have been held here of great note, Denmark Vesey, a former slave. He had been a slave to a man named Joseph Vesey who is out of Bermuda, but Denmark won a lottery and ended up using the money to purchase his own freedom. He had become a freedman, settled here in Charleston. In 1822, he was suspected of helping start a slave revolt that in fact would never actually occur. And he was executed on July 2nd, 1822, but was held here in the city jail while awaiting sentencing and awaiting his execution. The cells here are just kind of mock cells that show you the styles of cells that would have been used here at one point in time. Not necessarily the ones that we actually put people in. Going down another little dark hallway here. These style rooms here would have been just kind of used as an open cell. You would have crammed kind of as many people as you could have in there and just closed the door to it. During the American Civil War, we'd have found that this was also used as a POW camp. Some of the POWs were held inside, many of them held outside in little makeshift tents. But a surgeon and Confederate officer by the name of Dr. George R.C. Todd was held here, was stationed here. He was the brother to Mary Todd Lincoln, of course Abraham Lincoln's wife. Now I want y'all to notice this door to the left, how wide it's open right now. See that? That's gonna be important here in a second when you see me pause. But the Todd family actually caused a lot of grief for Abraham Lincoln during his time as president during the American Civil War due to their Confederate ties. But notice how much the door's closed now. That kind of creeped me out. I stood there for a second, paused, thought about going in, decided against it. But after I made this video, I did go back and check it out, and there was a window open, and I believe the breeze came in and just closed the door a little bit. I actually heard it closing as I was coming out of that previous room. I know it's pretty silent here today, but if you'd have been here from 1895 until 1939, you could have heard the children of the Jenkins Orphanage practicing outside, as they had a little band called the Jenkins Orphanage Band that helped develop what is known as ragtime music, and of course will adapt into American jazz music as we know it today. It also helps inspire the foundations for all American musical culture as we currently have it. Now, in 1965, the city of Charleston approved this place to be used as a museum after it had, of course, been decommissioned in 1939 and given over to the public housing or the housing authority. They kept it up until late 90s, early 2000s when the American College for Building Arts took it over. And largely during that time, even though it had been approved to be used as a museum, due to the state of the jail itself and how much money it would take to repair it, it largely remained unused. But the American College Building Arts took it over. 2003, they officially allowed tours to start beginning in the building. Today it's owned by a developer who still allows Bulldog Tours in. I do want to take a moment to thank Bulldog Tours for allowing me access and having one of their tour guides come with me to allow me into the building. But that's it for the inside walkthrough. All right, thank y'all again for joining me for the Old City Jail of Charleston today. Really hope you enjoyed the content, enjoyed the video and the walkthrough of the city jail, since we don't know how much longer we'll be able to go inside. But hey, if you like the video, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, make that little bell to give you notifications. Make sure you tell your friends about the channel. Share the channel's videos on your own Facebook or your own social media. As many subscribers as I can get is what I'd really like. Really trying to build the channel, and you guys are definitely helping me with that, so appreciate it. Also, a final thank you to Bulldog Tours for allowing me access, and my buddy David, who works for Bulldog Tours, for taking time out of his day to be able to come over and help me out with this video. Really appreciate all of it. But again, make sure you guys check twice, save a life, and take care of each other.